Welcome to this edition of ARTV News. I'm Tony Beauvais. In today's show, ARTV News, Melbourne Fringe Festival returns, Father Bob's 90th, Dancenorth Australia's Wayfinder, the value of art, a church story, and ARTV magazine. The NGV has a landmark exhibition. Africa Fashion celebrates the creativity, ingenuity, and global impact of contemporary African fashions from the mid-20th century to the present day. Featuring over 200 works, spanning fashion, textiles, adornment, photography, music and film, the exhibition illuminates a thriving fashion scene as dynamic and varied as the continent itself. Developed by the Victoria and Albert Museum London and presented in Melbourne in partnership with the NGV, Africa Fashion is the largest exhibition of fashions from this region in an Australian art institution to date. More than 50 designers and artists from 20 African countries are represented, from the vanguards who first gained worldwide attention. See the NGV website for further details. It's August 2021. Kath is up to Pussy's Bow in sourdough. Kim's been asked to work from home, though that happened before the pandemic. And Sharon has had a severe reaction to all the hand sanitisers. Relive the uniquely Melburnian pandemic experience of Kath and Kim through the eyes of these uniquely Melburnian characters, hilariously parodied by Art Simone with Thomas Jaspers, Lisa Mann and Scott Brennan. Returning to St Kilda's Alex Theatre after sold-out seasons in Geelong, Ballarat, Albury, Canberra, the Gold Coast and the Sydney Opera House, with quick wit and camp tunes, this is a fabulous night out for everyone. Fountain Lake's in lockdown, a drag parody at the Alex Theatre. See the website for details. The very successful Swoon series is reaching greater heights as our very own Warren Wills, virtuoso pianist and composer, performs at the Armagh Ballroom. The Swoon series are 6 separate concerts composed by Warren Wills, featuring artists from various backgrounds. Warren Wills is a world-class, award-winning musician, composer and facilitator. He has spent decades working on London's West End, composing and producing theatre, musical theatre and opera to great acclaim. Around the World in 80 Keys introduces none other than the acclaimed Callie Orty as Warren Wills' special guest. Bookings are available through trybooking.com. Broadwest Productions, in association with the Royal Melbourne Philharmonic, presents the world premiere of Quasimodo, the musical. The untold story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame is an exciting new Australian musical. The Untold Story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame is an exciting new Australian musical. Set in Paris in 1482 in the Gothic marvel of Notre Dame Cathedral, Quasimodo the musical catapults us into a thrilling tale of unrequited love and a tangled web of mystery, adventure and intrigue which envelopes the characters, the hunchbacked bell ringer Quasimodo, the gypsy girl Esmeralda, Captain Phoebus and the evil archdeacon Frollo. Destiny throws them together into a seething cauldron of conflicting desires. Quasimodo the musical is not to be missed. Tickets are available through TryBooking.
With events featuring artists, musicians, comedians, circus performers and everything in between, there's a little something for everyone at Melbourne's annual Fringe Festival. Returning for its 42nd year, the Melbourne Fringe Festival promises to be one of 2024's most diverse live events, boasting a program of over 470 shows and 2,500 talented performers. The festival invites you to come and eat your art out in Federation Square, where creative culinary studio Long Prawn will host Cooked, a series of experimental shows combining food with performance art. The exhibition will open with Seasoning the Grill, a free barbecue event featuring traditional and contemporary First Nation performances, and will continue through to the festival's close with many free events in between. One of Melbourne Fringe's mainstay programs, Deadly Fringe, will return to this year's festival, offering a variety of performances centering First Nations artists. Contemporary circus company Na Jinang will premiere their brand new circus performance In Place at the Footscray Community Arts Theatre, opening on October 16th. In addition to this, Digital Echoes, the expansive new work exploring the transformation of sound, messages and meaning from violist Aaron Wyatt, will debut at the Arts House on October 17th. Trades Hall in Carlton will once again serve as the festival's hub, with a program of over 100 exciting events, ranging from comedy shows, burlesque performances, DJ sets and singles nights, ready to take Melbourne by storm. The Melbourne Fringe Festival begins on October 1st and will run through to October 20th. For information on where to find free events, prices for ticketed events and programs for Melbourne's most boundary-pushing shows, head to melbournefringe.com.au.
To honour Father Bob Light and Work, we will celebrate his 90th birthday. To commemorate, a bold goal is to raise $90,000. Throughout this month to continue the work he was so passionate about. In 1973, when Father Bob joined the parish of St. Peter and Paul in South Melbourne, he thought he entered the Badlands, a place where refugees from Like were gathering. Housing Commission Flats brought a new cohort to the place. The South Melbourne Football Club was falling out of favour, and the collapse of the Westgate Bridge a few years earlier set a pall over the people, which would continue for a generation. For Father Bob, it's about the commitment to one another, for the social salvation and redemption of our most vulnerable fellow citizens. Most important of all, Father Bob is working creatively with the next generation of people who will take the foundation forward. All are young, proud and passionate, and they understand what the foundation stands for and what it can continue to achieve. Father Bob's foundation will continue to grow, be a loud and passionate advocate for the voiceless and forgotten. For further details, see the website.
Monash University Performing Arts Centre is set to host Wayfinder, a dynamic and emotionally charged performance by Dancenorth, Australia. This electrifying production, hailing from Townsville, Gurrumbil Borough, seamlessly blends contemporary dance, visual art and music, promising an unforgettable experience. Directed by the talented duo Amber Haynes and Carl Page, Wayfinder features an evocative score by three-time Grammy-nominated Australian band Hiatus, Coyote and sound artist Byron J. Scullin. The music, described as soaring composition, creates an atmosphere that speaks to our sensory nature, highlighting the importance of connection in the universe. The visual aspect of Wayfinder is equally striking, thanks to the work of renowned interdisciplinary artist Hiromi Tango, whose costume design and visual art infuse the performance with an explosion of colour, texture and shapes. Her work, which has been featured in international exhibitions across the United States, Belgium, Dubai, and throughout the Asia-Pacific region, including Singapore, South Korea, Japan, Indonesia, and New Zealand. Their dedication to creating high-quality performances has earned them numerous accolades, including 2 Helpman Awards, 2 Australian Dance Awards, and the prestigious Sidney Myer Performing Arts Group Award. Wayfinder marks Dancenorth's return to MPAC after a 5-year hiatus, their last performance being Dust in 2019. Dancenorth is known for its adventurous and critically acclaimed productions, having presented work in over 45 international art festivals and venues worldwide. MPAC, a cultural hub of Monash University, continues to act as a centre for the arts in Melbourne's southeast, connecting the university with the broader community through its diverse and engaging programs. With 5 venues across its Clayton and Peninsula campuses, MPAC remains committed to bringing exceptional local, national and international talent to its stages on October 18-19 at the Alexander Theatre.
Art has been and will continue to be one of the most powerful aspects of our lives. Over thousands of years, it has developed into many mediums and has shaped our past and present days. Not only has it influenced mankind since prehistoric times, it has outlasted generations since. Art has served as a peaceful and uniting denominator, capable of bringing many diverse cultures together. Art was able to touch our emotions and open our minds to new ways of understanding stories, myths, legends, and unique perspectives. It allowed artists to express themselves whilst achieving the purpose of perpetuating deep thought and discussion. And for that very reason, art can be considered as one of the most powerful and natural of gifts mankind has ever received. Art incorporates so many fields of talent, in fact, it cannot be challenged. Not only does it stimulate our thoughts and actions, it can also set new directions for many to follow and even challenge to better it. It does not always arrive in the form of aesthetic beauty and is often more powerful when it provokes associations with truth, hardship and injustices. Art allows us to think as independently as we like whilst remaining open to a variety of interpretations. Whether it's painting, sculpture, design or music, art can easily affect personal and emotional reactions. Art allows us to express ourselves whilst serving a variety of benefits and uses. It stimulates our senses, our minds, our emotions, our creativity and our beliefs. We have been able to enjoy the riches that flow from our artistic abilities for generations. Its development over many years has seen it grow into a diverse and highly competitive industry, which commands extreme investment values in today's world. Art also serves as a unique avenue for us to secure peace of mind and personal status. Art is beautiful for so many reasons. It is a powerful, timeless and universal medium. In effect, art is a significant communication avenue which helps us all understand each other. From the beauty of a child's first drawing to the most abstract of surreal expressionism, art will always leave an impression on us. Art has also allowed us to discover each other's cultures and beliefs. What an ultimate gift to appreciate in this modern day world.
I'm Lauren Sherson and I'm here with Paul Smith at the Presbyterian Church of St Kilda. Paul's on the board of management for the church and services stopped here in May 2024. So we're here today to have a look at this magnificent organ that was built in 1892 and to look at the whole church and to find out how can we get the community involved in the church and participate and to use the space here. So Paul, tell me a bit of history about the church.
Well, built in 1885, the foundation stone says 27th of January 1885. It replaced an earlier church that was here in 1860. It was a very big growing area in the marvellous Melbourne days, and so you had all that prosperity of the 1880s period before the depression of the 1890s. It really grew. Church attendance was good. The contribution to the community was quite strong. And it was a very big area at the time, and the other church up in St Kilda East in Chapel Street grew out of this, so it was quite prosperous.
And I believe this church built because the previous church on this site was too small for the growing congregation.
Yes, that one was built in 1860 and they knocked that down to build this one in 1885, and in between a hall across the road in Alma Road was constructed while they built this, and so the process was just growing and growing, but then I think by the 1890s and the turn of the century things changed a bit.
So what's some of the heritage here inside the building that we need to be looking at protecting and getting people involved with?
Well, a lot of people who come in here when it's been open, and when it was open regularly on Sundays, people would sometimes just walk in off the street and they'd look around and say, oh, this is beautiful, look at all the ornamental capitals and the architecture and the stained glass windows and the historic organ. And sometimes people would say, does the organ work? And we'd say, yes, it does. And of course the link is that it was built by the same people, Fincham and Hobday, in the same year of 1892 as the town hall organ, which was lost with a fire in 1991. So people come in here and they look around and say, oh, it's beautiful. And we thought, well, before anything sort of serious happens to it, the community might be interested to say, hey, what can we do with this space? So that's sort of some of the thinking going on there.
And so what type of uses does the space in the church have, and what ones can you imagine in the future?
Well, at the moment it's a fairly single-purpose space, as you can see. If you want to show some pictures of the pews, which like a lot of churches, the pews are in rows and they're usually screwed to the floor. But if that were allowed to be movable, the National Trust came here and said, oh yeah, you can do that. Don't wreck the building, but yeah, make it usable for the public and make it a bit more multi-purpose rather than just single-purpose. It could be quite a few ideas. One architect who came here said, oh, maybe you could use more of the outside space. You could have maybe coffee, tables and chairs, community activities in here, if there was a bit more flexibility. But yeah, music concerts would go well in here.
And so it fits around 50 to 200 people, is that right?
Easily. You could fit a lot more, but then after the concert you'd need a bit of space for them to mingle and have coffee and that sort of thing. So with the fixed seating, originally I think it was built for about 800, but now I think, 200 would be a really good number. We've had a concert here back in March and 73 people attended, and that was quite a good number. Pianist and some vocal groups performed. So it could do well for that sort of small community gathering of music and appreciation of that sort of art.
And even as we're talking here, you can hear the acoustics throughout the space.
Yes, that's true. We've had a few pianists here. We've got a grand piano, and pianists have come here, and organists and singers, and a trumpet player rehearses here quite regularly too. He's from the National Academy of Music, and he rehearses here, and he just loves the acoustics of the place. Yeah.
And so if you had one question or one call to the community, including the council, what would that be?
Well, if anyone's interested to invest in a place like this and do some of the necessary maintenance and alterations to kind of make it a place that the community could benefit and be a blessing to the community, and instead of being a building that just sits there and looks nice, I guess, the church would probably be happy to talk to such people. But I think let's keep the conversation open.
And thank you for starting the conversation, and let's keep the doors open and the church alive.
Photographer Renan Goskin, founder of Claypots Restaurants. About 2.5 years ago, Renan turned to photography and spends a great deal of time capturing people in real moments. Thanks so much for coming in. Love to have a chat with you today about photography.
I'd love to.
Great. You have been a photographer for, how long?
Well, recently.
Yeah.
And it's 2.5 years. I never had I've never shot film, for example. So all my life, I looked down on photography. I thought it was too easy.
Right.
So I went through, I went to wonderful places, I lived in different places, but I never had a camera. So it won't be true to say my first camera was 2.5 years ago, but I started suddenly realizing what photography was about 2.5 years ago when I got my full-frame camera. Before then, I might have had a camera here and there because of the restaurants, particularly doing the music, shooting the musicians, the gigs and all that. Yeah. I was more interested in filming. But film is, you guys know, because a lot of people and cooperation. I'm not very cooperative and a lot of setup. But photography, I can just
work on your own.
Work on my own. But it really, Tony, it really surprised me. I don't know what happened. I think it was a particular phase in my life. Yeah. I had just moved out from St Kilda to a little apartment in the city. And I got my first camera with the idea of maybe, actually not for photography, I again got it for films. But suddenly I understood the difference. The photo is like a distillation of the instant, of whatever is happening within that instant. See, a film, because I've been thinking about this, like a Kubrick film, for example, Barry Lyndon is often mentioned. It's a series of beautiful, beautiful photographs, thousands of them. I mean, there may be lots of other movies like that. So what's the difference? It's in the act. It's actually the act. The pleasure of photography is just choosing the moment, choosing what you're looking at, and one click.
It's capturing the moment in time.
And you can have so much in that.
Yeah.
It's the end result. It's not talking about the end result, because you can, extrapolate a frame from a film as well. Yeah. It's the pleasure in actually choosing the single frame.
Yeah. There's when I went to Europe in 1988-89, I had done a short course, black and white photography in South Melbourne. Yeah. I went to Paris. Well, it was very hard to take a bad shot there. But when I was in Spain, I think I captured just a little tacker skipping down the street, down an empty street, happy. Yeah. I'll never forget that, but I was in the zone and I managed to get that shot, and it's one of my all-time favourites. Makes me feel good when I look back at that.
Yeah. I like the moment. So let me, if you want to call me something, a photographer of the moment. Even my portraits are of trying to touch somebody basically on the street, and it's not distant. It's not with the long lens, it's in the moment. And I like environmental portraits where there's a few things there. You see what's going on with more like with a 50mm or 35mm lens rather than a proper, a more standard portrait lens, which is about 85, 100 or 125.
Yeah.
Now, the street, yes, so I'd call myself street, but I keep my distance. I'm not too good I'm quite reserved.
Yes.
I don't like onto your face, coming onto your face.
Yeah.
So, so a bit of urban setting. I think I'm drawn to solitude. So when I walk down and the camera is my companion, I don't like spying on people, so I don't use long lenses.
Yeah.
But I'm drawn, if I see a solitary figure with an urban thing happening, I'm sort of drawn into his world and I try to capture that. So that's one thing I do. That's one thing I do. But if there are no people, I'll shoot a landscape as well. Like Hillary said, it's there, I climb it, it's there, I'll take it, but that's it. You have to have the camera with you all the time. I mean, it's you wear your camera. You wake up and you wear your camera.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in the eye. People say, "Oh, you've got a good eye" and all that.
Yeah.
It's a process of selecting. You select, you select, and you take lots and lots and lots, and then you select again. That's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
To delete and select the
to
one
do
that
the
you
edit.
want.
Editing.
Yeah, so it's about what, how would you say it? A way to relate, and it's not about taking the best photograph.
No.
People struggle, really, because they're trying to get the best picture, the most appealing, but that's not it. It's about the act of engaging with the world. It's not about the end product.
No. There's some night works you've done,
I love
lighting.
I love low lights.
Yeah.
I love that. I never try to get the best photograph, the sharpest photograph. Now, that's the cameras are fantastic these days. I use everything manually, and it's not about getting the best photograph, the best image. I mean, I think there should be a distinction between photography and image making.
Yeah.
Image making is more in the graphic design. And all
Sure.
that. You can create a beautiful
you can make an image.
Wow, you
That's
say
right.
wow, but it finishes there.
That's right.
It finishes there.
You can't capture it.
It doesn't have a story. It doesn't have a story.
That's
It has to have a story. It has to have a narrative. Then it's a photograph. It has to have a reportage.
And for example, if you're taking a photo in Melbourne, Paris, into Collins Street, the architecture alone, no, you can't make that.
No.
Yeah, it's going to take.
I mean, there are great photographs that are out of focus. That's blurry, but it's about the intention and the essence and the narrative.
I think some of my best photos I've ever taken, I've deliberately made blurry because I needed movement. That's my excuse. And the back.
That's also trying to get the best image, blurry, the best blurry image.
Renan, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
We're going to get you back in
but
the
I'm
new
not
year.
finished. I have so much more to say, so I need to come back, definitely.
Well, great, because we'd love to have you, and there's also, especially from the camera and a bit of technique, because we'd love some people to get some advice.
About manual shooting and manual lenses. The biggest, but let me say this, the reason I have vintage lenses is because actually the size. I like a small lens.
Yeah.
You couldn't get this is a 58 f2 lens.
Yeah.
And a modern one with all the electronics in it, with autofocus and all that, will be much bigger.
Great.
That's one main reason, at least.
Sure. I totally understand. Makes it more portable too when you're a bit lighter. But
yeah, you want to be light.
We'll get into the next session, and we look forward to that time.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks so much. It's been great to see you.
And see you soon again.
I
definitely.
think you probably see me shortly after this.
And another portrait coming up.
Oh, marvellous.
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned.
I'll make it better this time, I promise.
Okay.
Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to let us know about any live event coming up in the inner Melbourne or Port Phillip region, just shoot us an email at artv.com.au. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.